Hi guys, and welcome to this video where I play space with a box strapped to my face. I am of course talking about Elite Dangerous in VR. I am using a HTC Vive which I've had now for around a week or so, or 2 weeks I think, and quite frankly I am absolutely completely 100% happy that I spent all that money and bought this thing, because the experience I've had with it has been fantastic. It's been a couple of disappointments, but overall the experience is fantastic. I'll get into all of my various kind of opinions about it later on in the video, but for now, feast your eyes on this ship. Of course, this is a third lens, and one of the most notable features of VR is your ability to completely look around your environment. And I've chosen to do this video with this ship because I think it is one of the most impressively detailed ships in the game. Now they're all really detailed, but this ship is just beautiful. So as you can see, the cockpit, or the bridge, is quite large actually in this particular vessel. Unfortunately I can't get right back to that door back there because the room that I'm in isn't physically big enough. I am in quite a small room, and I don't have the room scale set up. I've only got a sit down setup going. But still, you can still see all of the wonderful details in in the ship that Frontier have packed into it. It's absolutely really amazing. What I can do, however, despite the fact that I'm not set up for room scale, is I can actually stand up out of my seat here and walk around to some extent. And this is one of the things that I've been most impressed with about the Vive, is its positional tracking. The two little base stations that you get set up in opposite corners of the room, and despite the fact that I'm in a very small room, they're still able to track me really well. Now I can't go very far because I'm going to crash into a wall or something if I do, but I know for a fact I can come over here, and as you can see I can really just get down on my knees and look around. Let's have a look under here. I can't actually go any lower than this because it's going to lose its tracking on me. I'm getting grey flashes in my vision, but as well as that, I think my floor setup's a little higher than what's represented in the ship, because I'm floating about 10 centimeters off the floor here. But still, I can come along and inspect this thing. I just headbutted a piece of furniture. This is always a danger with using VR, I suppose, but whatever, get a bigger room, fool. And it's amazing because this is one of the things that I really love, and it's also a testament to how well Frontier have made this particular game. I mean, the amount of detail is fantastic. I mean, look at these seats. Look at the back of the seats. There's even some writing down here. This isn't going to be of much interest to most people, but I found it fascinating, which says, "Danger, cover will come off in case of jettison, replace if damaged." I mean, who's going to see that? If you're not in VR, who's going to see that? Yet they went to the trouble of actually putting it there. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's mind-blowing, actually. I will one day get a big enough room to go ahead and explore this place more fully, but for now, I'll be happy to sit back down in my chair and start talking about my individual experiences with this particular piece of hardware. So bear with me while I get myself in my seat. Now luckily the actual chair in the game is roughly in the same position as the chair in the seat, and so are the joystick and the throttle control, so I can just go ahead and put my hands on them and I haven't got any trouble hitting them. This feels a little strange when the character waggles his hands around and mine aren't moving. As well as that, my body feels a little strange. It's not my body, but yet it's where my body should be. It's quite a surreal experience, actually. But talking about Elite in particular, how well it is actually optimized for virtual reality, and I'll give you a demonstration of what I'm talking about. For example, it's not just the gameplay, but the way that you interact with all the various interfaces in the game. So if we go into the outfitting, for example. Usually if you're playing on your desktop, you would end up with a screen, and as you selected various things off of the menu there, you would end up seeing closer up versions of your ship, or you'd reposition the camera closer to the item that you're inspecting. But in virtual reality, you see your ship there, and the menu sort of floats here in the foreground, and you can actually look around it. It's, you know, there's a real spatial depth to it, and as well as that, you seem to be sort of positioned about sort of midway between the full height of your ship and the ground. So if you look down, it really does make your stomach drop, because you probably can't appreciate it on the video, but certainly in VR I'm probably quite high up here. It feels like I'm actually sort of looking off the top of a house, a two-story house, so you know, it's probably about 5-6 meters or so in the air. Quite unnerving actually, but interesting nonetheless. So if I just open up the hard points, now I get repositioned underneath the ship, but again I can just look around, so I can look over there, and it feels like I'm sort of standing on the deck underneath my ship, and down here you can really get a sense of how big this ship is. I mean, obviously it's not the biggest ship in the game, of course it's not, it's quite a small ship by comparison if you want to compare it to something like an Anaconda, but it's still big compared to, you know, a wee person like me. And there is a gigantic cannon underneath this thing, and as well as that, because I've got, you know, the lighthouses, I can actually look around the menu and see the ends. Look, there's the ends of the cannons. It's flipping huge. Size-wise, I'd say that is probably about the size of a bus. Easily, is enormous. Let's have a look at one of the other weapons. There is a fixed pulse laser. I don't know why I've got those fitted, they're not very good, but I haven't really kitted this ship out very well, to be honest with you. It's just been a quick build just to get this video going. But as you can see, yep, again, I can look around my ship quite happily and really inspect the detail of the vessel from the outside. Jump onto one of the other ones, it's just the same thing on the other side, and again, over there. I know, and these bays that the hard points come out of are enormous, really much bigger than they look on the actual screen. In fact, everything in VR is just much bigger than it looks on the actual, when you play it on the screen. Let's just nip over to some utility mounts and see if we can get any interesting angles on those. These are all on the bottom, so that's quite cool, isn't it? Look at the landing gear, it's absolutely enormous. It's like being underneath a large commercial jet. If you've ever gone to a museum and stood underneath a 747 or something like that, it's that kind of scale you're looking at. And there's that giant gun again, which I think is clipping through the floor a little bit. Let's have a look. Let's see if there's any on top. There you go. So we're up top. Look at that. There's looks like some kind of intake, although I don't know why engines at operating space would need air intakes. And here, standing on the front, and oh yeah, I'm actually next to the cockpit. So in there is the bridge, as we were looking at earlier on, and down there is the rest of the ship. It's really cool. I wish I could actually walk around on it. I suppose I could actually. If I got out of my chair, I could probably move around. And if I had a big enough room, I could probably quite happily mosey around on top of this ship of mine. But I don't, so I'm not even going to attempt it. There's the utility mount on the other side. Right, I'm not going to bother outfitting this with anything. I'm just going to get straight into space and show you what it's like to fly around in VR. Now, I'm aware that there are a bazillion videos online already about virtual reality and Elite Dangerous, and people have been using it with this game for ages, ever since the first iteration of Oculus Rift. But I don't care. I just want to make a video, and I want to yammer on about my particular experiences with it. So here we go. So the first thing that hits me when I'm flying the ship is how realistic it feels in here. How immersive it is. There's a keel back, I think, flying down there, and also how gigantic the starport is. you know. And another good thing about the third lens, of course, is its canopy is very, very open. So you can go ahead and stare out the roof all you like and see things behind you and everything. Not as good as an Asp mine, that's really, really, really good. So, going back to the sense of scale you get, everything is enormous. You're no longer seeing it obviously on a screen and within the context of a room or wherever it is you usually play. You're now seeing it from your own perspective as if you were really in that environment. So there's a major scale down factor for the human the human part of the game, and it really does feel just big in here. It feels like it's a proper ship. It feels immersive. So my peripheral vision isn't caught up with the edges of a screen or the surroundings of a room or an office and a desk and a keyboard and all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely fully immersive. I would say the graphics aren't good enough to completely fool my brain into thinking that I was actually here, but the immersion level is much improved, and I would recommend it on that factor alone. So I'm going to go and pick up a resource extraction site. I'm just going to pick up a normal one. I won't bother with a high one or anything. And of course, accessing the menus is dead easy. You just look at them. There's no more trying to find the cursor key on the keyboard to do it. You just look at them and navigate your way through things. It's really, really nice. It feels intuitive and far more interactive. Chuck some power into engines.
Frameshift drive
Great.
charging.
Now, the graphics were probably what disappointed me the most when I first put this on and started going. And maybe because I had a little bit of a preconception that they were going to be just as good and just as sharp as they were on the desktop screen. And I think anybody buying this and having that preconception will be fairly disappointed, because although the detail is there and although the texture quality is there, the screen door effect does have the effect of disrupting things like distant objects and text and basically the edges of things. It's like anti-aliasing is turned off, and then some, you know. It's a strange kind of black mesh that you see over things. You can see the gaps between pixels. Now, close-up things don't look so bad. I mean, these controls down here, they look great. The text, I can read everything. The dashboard and the ship looks great. The scanner looks good. But as soon as I start getting a little further out over the nose, it starts getting a little bit more confused. Now, I have improved this quite dramatically by using the render target multiplier hack that was talked about online for quite a while, and if you want to know more about that, then just go ahead and search that. But basically, it's a little line of script that you put into the config file that allows you to instruct SteamVR to chuck more resolution to the headset, and then it basically super samples it. So I managed to improve my graphics using this, and I set mine up for 1.5. I tried it on 2, but I couldn't get the frame rate to allow me to have smooth head movements. And I'm using a GTX 1070 as well, which is overclocked. But I found 1.5, that was enough to improve the graphic quality and allow me to have nice smooth head movements, smooth graphics. So I think I'm chucking out about 60 frames a second at the moment. And as I said, the graphic quality is much improved. So that initial disappointment that I had is gone. I'm more than happy with it now. The screen door is still there. It's still apparent. But you know what? You kind of get used to it. The more you use this thing, you kind of get used to it. But you know what? the graphic quality is not the end of the story here, and it's not actually what it's all about either. What it's all about is the immersion, and as I talked about before, the immersion is second to none. It's absolutely phenomenal. So there's another aspect to that which I expected to happen when I bought this, which is nausea and motion sickness. I'm an individual who's quite prone to that sort of thing. I can't go on a boat without feeling ill. This is fantastic, look at this. So I did expect to not be able to use the Vive for very long before feeling that I'm going to, you know, lose my lunch. But I'm glad to report that that is not the case. There is absolutely no nausea with it whatsoever. I have used this thing for hours and hours and hours, and I have never ever felt nauseous with it. My last experience with VR was on an Oculus DK1, and that made me feel sick within about 5 minutes of using it. But this is completely fine. I really am fine. So one of the great things about it is obviously the sensation you get when you're moving around. As I said, no nausea. It can make you feel a bit dizzy. It can make you feel like your head's been slammed in by something. But you don't get any actual nausea with it. So I can really throw the ship around. I've used the VR in the buggy as well, the SRV, and I've quite happily fallen into a deep crater and tumbled my way around, and I haven't felt sick in the slightest. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So I was really pleased that that wasn't the case. We found a wanted ship, look. So again, another great thing about the VR is the fact that you can track your enemies a little bit better. So I'm going to have a go at this guy. I'm on fixed weapons here, and as I said, the ship isn't particularly well set up, so I'm probably not going to do too good against an adder. Everyone's thinking, what? Why? Adder could destroy that. But I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is, again, that screen door effect comes into play here, because that's close, because at a distance it's hard to see. It looks like he's going to kill himself before I have anything to do with it. At a distance it's hard to make out ships. It's hard to make out what direction they're moving in, simply because that screen door starts to confuse the details that you usually rely on. So let's start killing this thing. And I haven't got much bank going on in my ship here. He's probably going to get his guns on me, because I'm not as maneuverable. And I can't aim for crap. He's firing missiles at me. I'll just ram into him. That's the valid tactic, right? There you go. Sorted. So I lost the ring of my shields then. I'm usually better at dogfighting. No, I'm not. I'm lying. So back to the virtual reality experience. It's particularly amazing when you are flinging your way through asteroid fields and this, that, and the other thing. And I've as I said, I've used it on planets, and I've used it in the Asp as well. And the Asp is a fantastic ship to play VR in, because the canopy is so open. As an exploration vessel, I think personally it makes a lot more sense in VR than it does outside of VR. And I'll probably make a video about the Asp actually at some point, but for now we'll stick with the Ferdinands and we'll try and find something else to explode. There's something scanning me. What is it? A Cobra. And he's in a wing as well. So I got a bit of a policy not to bother taking on loads of ships, loads of wings, because I get my ass kicked even when I am in a really good ship. And as I said, I'm not really set up for fighting here. So more about the HTC Vive. One of the other things I was worried about is focusing. Getting actual, sharp focus with your eyes on the details in the game. The Vive does have a mechanism which allows you to move the screen further away from your eyes, and you can do it individual as well, so you can move the left further away from the right and that sort of thing. What I have found with this though is it gives you a vignetting kind of effect around your peripheral vision, something that I'm not personally happy with, so I've got it set as close as I can. There's a big fight going on over here, so I've got it set as close as possible. And that's alright. It's also got, I think they call it the PID setting, I'm not quite sure what it stands for. It might be some kind of diopter dial-in, but basically it adjusts the space between your eyes. And I find that if one eye is slightly out of focus, you can twiddle around with this and actually rectify that problem. I'm not doing very well here in terms of blowing stuff up, but then I suppose that's not the point of the video. There's wing of 3 again. That's only an expert. I should go and just wreck him, shouldn't I? It's just his mates will start me then. Flipping hate sidewind as well, they're too manoeuvrable. If I was in my Vulture, I'd quite happily go for it, but because this ship's a bit sluggish and not set up very well, I think I've got the basic thrusters on it as well. I'm not going to bother. Shoot about novice instead. Yeah. Basically I'm a bully. My combat rank is deadly and I'm shooting up a novice ship. Never mind. But look at that, I can stare straight out the ceiling and just keep this guy in my sights. And that's probably wanted as well. Let's have a go at this. God, this place is full of novices today. Yes, slam him with some cannon fire. Bam. And that thing just flying past my canopy there felt like it was going to hit me in the face. Really, really, really good. Right, so I'm going to just exit the asteroid field now and crack on back to the station and just recap what I've talked about briefly. The downsides to VR, particularly with this game, is things like the galaxy map. I can't really use it properly in VR, and I'll show you what I mean. If we go to the galaxy map, ding dong, wait for it to appear, there it is. Right, so again you're in this kind of floating virtual body. You can look around, you can look behind you, and there's stars, and you're just flying around in space basically. It's really, really cool. It's really, really nicely the way they've done it. But I find the mouse a bit useless in this context, because if I wanted to click on rain right in front of me there, I can't. The mouse seems to exist on this plane here, which is aligned with this menu. Rain is like a three-dimensional object, so if I close one eye, the mouse is in at one position. If I close the other, the mouse is on the other side of it. Now obviously you can't see that on the video, but it means that I can't accurately click on that. So I tried to click on it and ended up somewhere else. The other problem, of course, then is navigating to places. You've got to be pretty awesome with your touch typing to be able to do this. So if you want, I want to type something in. I'm just trying to feel my way for the keys. So if I want to type in frog, for example, F, I found the F. Nope, nope. R, nope. Where's the O? O, and the G should be down there somewhere. There's frog. And frog's a reasonably simple, you know, system name. You got some really big ones that would take ages to type in. I suppose you could just lift your headset up and do it. But the other problem there is I got frog then, and I can't navigate to it. I can't go unless... Let's just click this again. No, it's gone back for some reason. Turtle? No, didn't want that, did I? I wanted that. So there's frog. So now I can click on that and actually plot a route. It won't let me because my frameshift drive is poo. Oh yes, it did. My frameshift drive is poo though, so it probably wouldn't. It's all the way up there, look. So the perspective you get in VR in the galaxy map is amazing, but using it it's doable, but it's a little bit tricky. So just quit that. So let's go back to the station what I was at. Let's tell you what, let's go to a port instead. Let's go there. Lock destination. Is there anywhere closer? That one. It's over there, look. So I can just look out the window there.
Frameshift drive.
Chuck the frameshift drive on. And what I do really like is looking out the window as I frameshift out of an asteroid field. You really get a good sense of acceleration. Way, there you go. It's pretty incredible actually. And again, that's a testament to how well they've done the game in that respect, is the transition between normal space and Super Cruise. Now, entering hyperspace is also really amazing in VR. You get a really good sense. I'm not going to do it here. I'm not sure what my jump range is actually. 14 light years actually, it's not bad. It's probably the maximum a Ferdlands can manage. So I could jump out to another system just to show you. Actually, sorry, I'm making a complete mess of this. Systems. Yeah, let's go to Wolf 318. And that is behind me somewhere. There it is. Up above me and behind me.
Frameshift drive charging.
So immediately what happens is the sensation when the stars start to stretch and this part, the blue thing coming around you, it's really, really, and then you get that bit, and that's just incredible. And now you feel like you're just blasting through the cosmos at incredible speed. It actually feels like it's hitting your body. I don't know. I don't know if that's just me. And then that happens, and a huge, great big star appears in your face. It's brilliant. Such a good experience. Now, I have found fuel scooping is a little tricky to do to judge the distance between you and the star. I often end up getting too close and bombing out of Super Cruise.
Fuel scooping complete.
I'm just going to throttle back here and enjoy the view. So you can see the back of my chair there, and you see the giant star, and the lighting in the cabin is just fantastic. Really, really, really immersive. So this sunroof was handy. It is a sunroof at this point. Sometimes it's a moonroof. It depends on where you are in the solar system. There's a little ship going past there. Now the other thing you can do is go into the debug camera. Oh, hang on. Nope, sorry, that's the wrong button. So I'm having to feel around on the keyboard for the button I've got assigned to the debug camera, which is that one. Now this will make you feel sick. Well, at least it makes me feel sick. So looking again, you're looking around the ship. There's my cool. There's my air vents going. Look, my heat vents. I found that there's some kind of sensory perception going on here, and your body gets a little bit confused. So it's all right when I'm stationary, but as I start moving around, your head starts to spin a little bit. Now it doesn't create nausea, but it creates a little bit of a strange sensation in your inner ear. It starts feeling a little bit dizzy. But yeah, you can just go ahead and look around your ship, and while you're panning with the camera, you can move your head and look wherever you want. It's really sort of, let's do a J.J. Abrams camera angle. Everything's upside down. All you need is some solar flares and some anamorphic lens flare going across the thing, and we would have made the first Star Trek film we did. Look at the detail on this ship. It's fantastic. Really, really, really good. So you can use the headset at this point just to really inspect stuff. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Wow. So before I do actually throw up, I'm going to no, I'm joking, I'm not actually feeling sick at all. I'm feeling a little bit dizzy though. Back in the ship, and as soon as I'm back in here, it goes away. The inner ear settles down and it goes away. It's perfectly fine. Let's move on out. So apart from the galaxy map being a little bit fiddly to use and not being able to find certain things that I've got bound on the keyboard, and the initial graphics settings, I haven't found anything else wrong with this this headset at all. I really haven't. It's just been absolutely spot on. And as I said, I fixed the graphics settings with that super sampling. Let's go back to Kosh Bruce. Lock destination. Let's have another bit of a hyper jump. And what I do really love about it is the, of course, the spatial tracking works to allow you to stare around pillars and things like this. So the pillar that gets in the way in the Ferdlands, usually people complain about this particular pillar here getting in the way of everything. You can just go ahead and stare around it. Yeah, it's not in the way anymore, is it? It's fantastic. The other thing as well, which I'm going to mention, is the HUD. It's all at different levels, so staring at that little clock that was counting down then causes my eyes to focus on it, and everything else goes out of focus. I suppose they do it with different varying levels of image separation, but it's such a good effect. It really, really is such a good effect. Like, for example, if I look at that, the messages there in that comms box, the dashboard of the ship goes sort of out of focus, or out of it's sort of in my peripheral vision. It's kind of like what you get when you're looking out of the windscreen of your car. You know, your speedo and your rev counter sort of go into that strange sort of out of focus peripheral vision, and it's exactly the same experiencing. So I want to go to Neville Horizons, which I'm gonna have to set my thing up for. Neville Horizons, lock destination. Of course, it's behind me. Everything always is. There's little switches on this post here. I mean, what are they for, I wonder? See, it does make me think that the people or the person responsible for designing the interior of the ship, I wonder if they actually thought, yes, those buttons would be to do. Whoop, missed that a bit. Those buttons would be to do this, that, and the other thing. It would be nice to think that they did consider it. Not that you'd ever be able to interact with them. I'm going to blast past this one again, aren't I? I'm not paying much attention here. I apologise. I also apologise in advance if I decide to leave this in the video and not edit it out. But as this is a bit of an ad hoc video, I'm not sure if I care. So it's really cool seeing the shadows moving around, and I know that was in the non-VR version of it, but it just makes so much more immersion. It provides so much more immersion in VR, and you notice it a lot more as well. Yeah, look at this. I'm bang on. If I was doing a smuggling run, I'd be right in there right now. Neville Horizons, request docking.
Landing permitted. Just heading for approach to pad 37.
So one thing I will say about the focus of the sunlight just went out. One thing I will say about the focus of the screens in here in the headset is that I can actually move my eyes around, and providing I don't expect to get clear focus if I move my eyes right to the edge of the vision, then by and large I can actually focus on different stuff just by moving my eyes around. So the Fresnel lenses that are in the headset do work very well for that, I think. Gotta put my landing gear down. So landing's good fun. Coming into the starport is good fun. All the things that make this game good are just even better. They're on steroids when you're in VR. You really do start to feel the environment so much more, and it becomes part of the game so much more. So I'm going to leave the video here. I think I've rabbited on long enough about VR and this game's particular implementation of it. So if you like the video, then click the like button. If you don't like the video, then I don't care. I might make some more videos about VR in various other ships. And thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure showing you around. Bye now.